European leaders pledged continued military support for Ukraine as they convened in London to discuss ways to end the war. Israel is facing backlash after it decided to block the entry of goods and crucial aid into Gaza after the first phase of a three-part truce expired.
Independent film Honor dominated the 97th edition of the Oscars, taking home 5 awards.
Cleanup efforts are underway in the French Indian Ocean island of Reunion after Tropical Storm Garen struck over the weekend.
A Firefly aerospace lander carrying equipment for NASA successfully touched down on the moon.
European leaders agreed to do the heavy lifting to defend their continent as they convened in London to discuss ways to bring an end to the war in Ukraine. The summit follows Friday's tense meeting between US and Ukrainian presidents Trump and Zelensky, which ended in a televised shouting match in the Oval Office. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer emphasized the urgency behind securing a peace deal. He reiterated, however, that any agreement must be robust and guaranteed to last and succeed.
We cannot accept a weak deal like Minsk, which Russia can breach with ease. Instead, any deal must be backed by strength. Every nation must contribute to that in the best way that it can, bringing different capabilities and support to the table.
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen addressed Washington and expressed Brussels' intent on working together towards achieving peace.
We are ready, together with you, to defend democracy, to defend the principle that there is a rule of law and it's in our common interest to prevent future wars, that we make very clear that these rules count and that democracy, that together the democracies are standing up for that.
Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni proposed to organize a summit between European leaders and the US to explore ways to end the fighting, and on Sunday's meeting stressed the importance of protecting Western unity.
Ma significa anche che noi dobbiamo essere bravi in questa fase a non fare l'errore di dividere o di favorire una divisione dell'Occidente che sarebbe esiziale per tutti. Lo sarebbe particolarmente per l'Ucraina.
A special European Council summit of EU leaders is set to take place in Brussels on Thursday, where officials will continue to discuss ways to bolster continental security as well as further support to Ukraine.
The European Union must urgently rearm and help Ukraine turn into a steel porcupine, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said at the conclusion of a high-stakes summit in London. She explained this should include continued financial and military support to safeguard a potential peace agreement between Ukraine and Russia. Von der Leyen described how stepping up defence investment for a prolonged period of time would help guarantee the security of the EU. She highlighted the need to prepare for the worst after a period of underinvestment and said it was important to step up defence in the current geopolitical environment. Von der Leyen says she will present a new plan to drastically boost defence spending at an EU extraordinary summit on the 6th of March. The plan will consist of 3 pillars, she said, including the relaxation of fiscal rules to allow greater public financing, mobilising common EU money, and greater involvement of the European Investment Bank.
Ukrainian soldiers on the 92nd Assault Brigade reflected on the Oval Office spat between US President Donald Trump and his Ukrainian counterpart Volodymyr Zelensky. A soldier argued that both Kyiv and Washington need to make compromises in order to facilitate a peace agreement, adding that Ukraine's security is equally important to both. Another soldier, nicknamed Edo, praised Zelensky and expressed his full support to his president.
З Верховним Головнокомандуючим я повністю солідарен. Я думаю, що багато політиків американських навіть не знає, що тут коїться. По тому такі приклади сварок, як була вчора.
Another soldier noted that troops on the front lines don't know how to feel about the incident. The spat to them indicated Washington backing away from a role it has exercised for decades, being a guarantor of global security. He also added that without U.S. support, the situation could get very hard for Ukraine. Israel was criticized after it decided to block the entry of all goods and crucial aid into Gaza after the first phase of a three-part ceasefire expired. The first phase saw the release of dozens of hostages held under Hamas captivity in exchange for the release of hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. The deal brokered by the United States, Qatar, and Egypt was meant to smoothly transition into a second phase aimed at negotiating a comprehensive end to the fighting. Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdulati condemned Israel's decision and accused them of weaponizing aid and using it as a method of collective punishment.
ولا يتعين ولا يمكن السماح أو قبول استخدام المساعدات كسلاح للعقاب الجماعي وللتجويع. هذا أمر مرفوض تماما ويمثل انتهاك صارخ وصريح للقانون الدولي الإنساني.
Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu defended his decision as he accused Hamas of stealing supplies meant to help civilians.
We've done that because Hamas steals the supplies and prevents the people of Gaza from getting them. It uses these supplies to finance its terror machine, which is aimed directly at Israel and our civilians, and this we cannot accept.
Netanyahu also promised further action against the group if they don't comply with his demands. He also added that his government has agreed to a new U.S. proposal to extend the temporary truce by 50 days.
In Witkoff's plan, half of the hostages would be released right away, and the remaining half would be released if we reach an agreement on a permanent ceasefire. Again, Israel has accepted this plan, I accepted this plan, but so far, Hamas has rejected it.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres also condemned the development and urged both parties to take steps that advance peace. He also called on Hamas to release all of the remaining hostages and demanded Netanyahu resume the flow of aid.
Pope Francis has shown signs of improvement as he battles pneumonia and breathing difficulties. He remained in stable condition and didn't need any mechanical ventilation on Sunday, the Vatican said. The 88-year pontiff has been hospitalized since the 14th of February. Doctors said the Pope continued to receive supplemental high-flow oxygenation after a coughing episode on Friday, and that his clinical picture remains complex. The pontiff has suffered from lung-related issues for much of his life after having part of one lung removed as a young man. His schedule has been cleared to accommodate his intensive medical treatment.
Four people were killed after tropical cyclone Garance hit the French Indian Ocean island of Réunion. The storm brought torrential rains and wind speeds exceeding 200 kilometers per hour, causing major destruction to homes and critical infrastructure. Close to 200,000 people of the French Department Islands' almost 900,000 population were left without power. Local officials say more than 170,000 residents lost access to clean drinking water. More than 800 people also sought refuge in emergency shelters as torrential rains brought the risk of flooding and landslides. Authorities downgraded the cyclone warning from purple, the highest level, to a red warning. Residents are still requested to remain indoors as heavy rain and strong winds are expected to persist throughout the day. Cleanup efforts are currently underway in Réunion, located about 1,500 kilometers southeast of Mayotte, which was hit by the worst cyclone in nearly a century in December.
After 5 months of tumultuous negotiations, members of Austria's Liberal NEOS party have voted overwhelmingly to enter a coalition with the conservative SPO and OVP. The three centrist parties had announced a coalition deal last week, but members of NEOS still needed to approve the agreement. The new government will be sworn in on Monday, ending a 5-month wait since the far-right FPO came out on top in national elections. The alliance between the three parties was one of the last alternatives to avoid a snap election, which opinion polls suggest would have increased FPO's lead. If NEOS's party members hadn't agreed to enter the coalition, the SPO and OVP would have been left with a parliamentary majority of only one seat. viewed as too narrow to effectively govern.
Wow, okay.
Honora was the name that echoed around the room at the 97th edition of the Oscars Film Awards.
Thank you so much, and for all your incredible work.
The independent film took home 5 Oscars, including Best Director for Sean Baker.
I'm very passionate about. Well, first off, thank you to the Academy.
While accepting the award, he let out his battle cry, encouraging people to support independent cinemas.
So we're all here tonight and watching this broadcast because we love movies. Where did we fall in love with the movies? At the movie theater. Watching a film in the theater with an audience is an experience. We can laugh together, cry together, scream and fright together, perhaps sit in devastated silence together. And in a time in which the world can feel very divided, this is more important than ever. And
Baker also won Best Picture, Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, and Best Editing, becoming the first person ever to take home 4 Oscars in one night for the same film.
Long live independent
Honora
film.
also won Best Actress for Mikey Madison, who plays a sex worker who falls for the son of a Russian billionaire. In her speech, she paid tribute to sex workers. Adrian Brody won his second Oscar by winning Best Actor for his performance in Brady Corbett's The Brutalist, in which he plays architect and Holocaust survivor Laszlo Tutt.
Who is not only reinvigorated